You know, you've probably heard me say this many times before, so I do apologize in advance if you've heard me say it over and over and over again, but I kind of feel like some people will relate to this. When I talk about these issues in my public life, I always get the same reactions. You've heard me say it before. People tell me I'm exaggerating. This doesn't happen, mate. Nah, don't worry. There isn't a clear agenda to indoctrinate children with a certain ideology. Allow them to watch what they want. Funny thing is, right, these sort of videos kind of emphasize the point I make on a day-to-day basis. The scarier thing is, it won't be the last time I make this sort of video. It's only January, because there is a clear agenda to indoctrinate children with a certain ideology. And we can sit here all day long and theorize as to why this is happening, you know, to confuse them, push them in a certain direction, separate them from the family, from the parents, and then in turn, separate them from themselves. And I truly believe when this happens, when a young person subscribes to an idea that an entity is pushing out, they then become a child of that entity, and that entity will seek to raise that child on purpose. Let's be honest now. Social media, digital platforms, the internet are raising children instead of the parents. And this may be a mistake by YouTube, you know, you could say that, but what has been found out is quite damning. You all know we get two sides to YouTube, right? You get the normal YouTube, the one you're watching me on, and then the YouTube Kids version, which, as the name says, it's for kids. So with that thought, you would think nothing political would be inserted onto that side of YouTube. Nothing underneath the umbrella of woke ideology would be pushed onto them. And maybe this is my ignorance showing right now, but lo and behold, how wrong I was. A thread that was posted by a user that goes by the name of Aldo Buttazzoni, I'm sorry if I got that name wrong, at YouTube Kids is grooming children with LGBTQ+ propaganda. I made an account and what I found was disgusting. I made an account for 9 to 12-year-olds and one of the first videos they recommend is kids meet a gender non-conforming person. And he provides screenshots along with it, and as you can see, it's not what you really want your kids watching on a Saturday afternoon, let's be honest. Now, I'll say again, this could be a mistake on YouTube's part, right? But it's very concerning to me. One of the first videos that gets recommended to a 9 to 12-year-old is about a gender non-conforming person. It's almost like they're trying to appeal to a child's curiosity, right? Because when you don't know about anything, you'll click on it. Oh, look at that. I've never heard of that one before. They go down the rabbit hole and then they come downstairs the next day and say, Mum, Dad, I'm now a gender non-conforming person. And it's funny because people think I'm joking when I say this, but no, that's how it works. As I always say, if you say to a child long enough that the sky is red, do you not think they're going to believe you? Here's just one of the myriad of videos they have to inject children with LGBTQ programming. Why do kids need to be exposed to this? And again, he attaches more screenshots. As you can see, we have a channel that is titled Queer Kid Stuff, with videos like Tears for Transgender and Happy Non-Binary Week. The next one, which is from the same channel again, shows videos like he, she, and they with a dude pictured having a wig on, and then you go further along and it's all about drag queen story hour and reading a book titled Julian is a Mermaid. Oh god. You also get Meet a Queer Kid featuring Desmond is Amazing, and finally The Meaning of Pride featuring drag queen Nina West looking like something out of, I don't know, The Conjuring. All things I've just shown you I don't want my kids watching. Is that controversial of me to say? I feel like a lot of people will feel the same, right? I don't like the idea of going downstairs and my kids watching something all about pride and drag queen story hour and Nina West is on his screen, because he'll probably get scared. But if I don't want to do that, if future parents don't want to do that, if parents watching right now don't want to do that, then that's the choice they make. There'll be people saying, oh, you're bigots for saying that. You can't tell people how to raise their kids. There is nothing wrong with parents not wanting their kids to see this. There is no issue. I don't care if you're an adult and you do this in your day-to-day life, right? You do it. I don't care what you get up to. All I'm saying is leave the kids alone. And the argument I've seen on Twitter from the left, the progressive left, the far left, and I'm sure you've seen it as well, they're all saying, well, this dude who made this account clicked on one video and the algorithm fed him another one. Yeah, that's how it works, which is why until Elon Musk took over Twitter, you were stuck in your progressive echo chambers. So say if a 9 to 12-year-old did click on that video out of curiosity, they would then be bombarded with more and more videos. So that argument really doesn't have any legs to stand on. It's kind of funny when you start to think about it, right? Being progressive then gets rid of all valid concerns. You know, if it hurts a progressive idea, then your valid concerns, well, they don't mean anything, apparently. It's funny how that one just works, isn't it? Something to think about. There was a seeming endless supply of these videos. Do children really have the capacity to understand these concepts? This is not education, this is indoctrination. And again, I'll attach the screenshots provided. As you can see, we have things like, I'm gay, Prince Henry, a gay fairy tale. It's okay to be gay, I'm gay. I think we get the point. One of the most prominent channels on YouTube Kids is Queer Kid Stuff, a channel we've already mentioned, where they break down the infinite sexualities in the LGBTQ+ group and detail what each letter means. Now, I'm not going to sit here and read them all to you because we still have a lot to get through, so you can pause the video and read them for yourself. I highly recommend you do. Many of the episodes featured drag queens and queer kids, and again, those screenshots don't look appealing, do they? I sure don't want my kids watching that. And then you move on to a more controversial part, because they even have a video that is titled, What is Islam? Now, this is scary to me because all of this ideology being promoted completely goes against that religion. So I'm sure if this gets enough traction, there will be a lot of justified backlash. How they can include something like that is absolutely beyond me. But finally, and one of the worst parts of all of this thread, and some would argue the worst, consent is about giving permission to someone or something. This is one of the most bizarre videos teaching children how to give consent. What exactly are they teaching children to consent to? Now, there are other parts of this thread I haven't read out. I just read most of the controversial ones, but you have to remember, as this dude said, right, he created an account for 9 to 12-year-olds. And they're talking about giving consent. What are they consenting to? What's the someone? What's the something? What's the situation going on here? Because in my opinion, this is disgusting. The fact that a 9 to 12-year-old can easily watch this with no regulations, the ease of accessibility, is scary. The scarier part is, there's a lot of scary things in this video, I'm sorry for the doom and gloom, but the scarier part is, there are parents out there who don't check what their kids are getting up to. They really don't care. I see it all the time in Starbucks, Costa, etc., etc. As long as their kids aren't crying, aren't complaining, aren't making a fuss, they like the sound of silence. So they just allow their kid to watch anything. And they don't know what their kids have been watching until they come downstairs the next day and say, hey, mum, dad, I'm now non-binary. And you question, how did they get to that conclusion? You look at what they've been watching and, well, there you have it. And then that also creates division in the family, as I said earlier, right? Because if the parents don't agree with it, that person will then adopt the entity, the company pushing out that belief as their new parent. And it's more controversial for me to sit here and say all of these things, which are valid concerns, than to agree with it. If I agree with it, people will clap for me. That's the situation we're in right now. People have more of an issue. There's more backlash with people not being happy about young men in general, watching self-improvement videos to help them become a better man, increase their masculinity. They don't like that. They're actually scared of men becoming more masculine because then it gets rid of the feminization of men agenda, right? Because there are a lot of men out there who don't want to wear skirts, who feel disenfranchised, that don't want to wear nail polish. They want to be strong, provide and protect, etc., etc. But that content gets more backlash than this stuff. This stuff gets advocated for. How does that make any sense? What they're doing to the young minds of society, and I could go on forever, right? But I'll just go round and round in circles. But what they're doing to the young minds of society is, it's scary because they're leading them down a road they should not be going down, right? They're planting ideas into kids' minds that may not be there if they weren't consuming certain content, and people think this is all sunshine, it's rainbows, it's stunning, it's brave, we're going to live in such a great society. No, people don't realize what this is leading to is more chaos and division, because these things are being pushed to uphold certain narratives, certain agendas, to then further push out chaos and division. And I really think they target the younger people because if you get them earlier, if you indoctrinate them with all of this stuff earlier, it's harder to unlearn the stuff you're being taught in future life, right? They'll reject the idea of not seeing the world in another way. And I'm sorry. I really am to the people watching right now. I apologize to those who don't agree with the stuff I'm saying because I'm a man that stands for something and not everything. I am sorry. I care about the direction of the planet and where it's going. I truly am, because I know it offends you. But what are your opinions on this situation, ladies and gentlemen? Are you surprised that even YouTube Kids has this agenda being pushed? Whether it's a mistake or not, who knows? I would like to hear your opinions down below. If you have enjoyed today's video, then please, for me, make sure to leave a like rating. If you're new, hit that big red subscribe button and turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video. But until next time, It has been your boy JD. Please, for me, make sure to always, always have a great day and stay safe. I'm out. Peace. Mate, what's going on?